people to lose each other.
A man named Elmer Vincent works here. He's often visited by Arthur Scamardo, a longtime business associate.
Hello, Arthur. How are you today?
Pretty good. You ready to go look at that work?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay.
Elmer is a superintendent here. Arthur often supplies him with new machinery parts. What the men didn't know was that they were brothers.
Arthur was adopted when he was 2 weeks old. Elmer grew up in an orphanage. They've been good friends for over 15 years.
Hello, Arthur.
They were brought together by Jenny Kolp.
For many years, I had entertained the thoughts of having a reunion for former residents of this orphanage where we lived. And I proceeded to, from memory, secure a list of names and began to try to track down those. On this list of names was Elmer Vincent. I knew Elmer lived here locally. I saw him periodically. So I contacted Elmer as to his interest in a reunion, and he was real excited about it.
The orphanage is now closed, but Jenny learned of Elmer's brother on the day they made a nostalgic visit.
Elmer told me that he had a brother that had been adopted out. The one brother, 2 weeks of age, he never knew what happened. He had never heard a word since they had come to the orphanage and the mother had died. So he said, do you think there's a chance that you might be able to find my 2-week-old baby brother? He had tears in his eyes. I could see it was a real emotional thing with him, and I didn't want to be discouraging, but I didn't want to promise him the moon either. So I said, Elmer, there's always a possibility that we could find your brother.
Jenny was deeply touched by Elmer's story of his long-lost brother.
While she made plans for the reunion, Jenny also tried to find out where Elmer's brother might be. The first clue came from a phone call.
Hello? In the meantime, I received this long-distance phone call, and this gentleman asked me, was I looking for any of the Vincents? And I said, yes, I am. Yes, I'm looking for some Vincents that were adopted when they were small. He said, well, one lives in Fort Smith, I know. He was adopted by a family by the name of Lamard. And I asked him, would he tell me who he was, that I could come back for further information? He says, no, this is all I can tell you. So he hung up. And I began to check phone directories, old city directories, even from 1800 forward for the name Lamard. And I came up with absolutely nothing.
Jenny was about to give up when she remembered a chance encounter with a woman at a garage sale.
This Helen Nyhouse had introduced me to her sister, Agnes Scamardo. And as I was driving past Helen's home, the name Scamard came to my mind, and I thought, Lamard, Scamard. Could it be? Could there be a connection? And the next morning, I went to Mrs. Nyhouse's home.
Do you remember me from your garage sale?
Yes, I do. I remember her.
I asked Mrs. Nyhouse, I said, did you not introduce me to a sister, Mrs. Agnes Scamard? She said, Scamardo. I said, how many children does she have? And she said, well, Agnes passed away in February, but she had one child. I said, was he adopted? She said, yes. Yes, he was. I said, was he a Vincent? She said, yes. His middle name is Vincent. Agnes chose to give him his family name as his middle name because she always wanted him to have roots. So thus she named him Arthur Vincent Scamardo. And he was adopted at 2 weeks of age. So I left, and I headed straight for Elmer's job. I could not wait to tell him we had found his brother.
It wasn't long before this incredible story made headlines. Jenny Kolp had solved a mystery that had endured for 40 years.
Two longtime friends now had the pleasure of knowing that they were really brothers. Two separate families were joined as one, and a lifelong dream was fulfilled.
Well, I didn't know where my baby brother was. We didn't know whether he was alive or dead. So, you know, we'd really given up hopes of finding him because it's been 40 years. So, you know, the chance of finding someone like that that's been adopted is one chance in a million. It's just incredible that we were able to find each other.
I'm glad it's happened. I think the whole reunion was an act of God, because it was timed perfect to be used for other reasons, like the Rosalie Tillis reunion. It did a lot more good than just us, really, for a lot of people. And I think it was meant to be that way. It could have happened before this particular time with any kind of breaks like we had now, but I think it was meant to go now. It worked out just right for everybody. So I think it was meant to be.